What up, people? It's the Ilive4Saturdays podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Ilive4Saturdays. Like, comment, and subscribe. And Alabama is still king of college football. And it's not even close. And I know that's really boring, but it's just facts, man. And there's not much anybody can do unless someone can out-recruit Nick Saban. I mean, these fucking guys got fucking 4 stars on gray shirts. How can anyone this year compete with Alabama? And once again, very boring. I picked in the preseason. Alabama is my national champion. And until they get beat, obviously, I'm not going to change my opinion. Like I said, they have 4 stars on gray shirt. Like, that's how stacked this team is. Florida State, super talented team, the second most talented team in the country. You could look up the numbers in recruiting rankings by 24/7 Sports Composition ranking. Florida State, the second best team, and they curb stomped them. I mean, Florida State held their own. They showed they're a great football team. They show that they can win the ACC. They show they're a playoff team. But at the end of the day, the score was still 24-7, and the game really was never in doubt. It really wasn't. Florida State's defense showed up. They're awesome. But at the end of the day, Alabama is still king. And right now, as we speak, it's not even close. And a little bit about the game. I was going back and forth with the game and other games. It didn't really live up to the hype. It was kind of boring. A lot of incompletions. When you see a lot of incompletions, that usually becomes boring. But Alabama showed how talented they are, and they're still amazing. I think Tony Brown was probably the best player on the field. I was really impressed by him. But the hottest topic that came out of that game was Deandre Francois, who's super talented kid. Florida State's starting quarterback, super talented. I think he's got a great arm. He's got great touch in the ball. Not the biggest arm, decently mobile, and it's been a problem since last year. The kid cannot set up his pass protection, and it cost him finally. It cost him. And I've been on record, going down these videos. I've been on record saying Florida State, they can win the ACC, and they can go to the national championship game. But it all lands on Deandre Francois' shoulders. Can he stay healthy? And why did I say can he stay healthy? It wasn't because of the offensive line. Yes, they are struggling. But it wasn't because of the offensive line. It was because this kid has no idea how to set up pass protection. And I'm not an X's and O's genius, and I'll admit that. I'm really not. But I do know a little bit about college football. Okay, I am fluent in college football. And just knowing the basic stuff, I know the numbers and the stats, I know all that stuff. And when you consistently have free rushers coming at you, consistently, I'm talking about consistently, not all the time, and there are mistakes, offensive lines make mistakes, but consistently, free runners, defenders are coming at you, linebackers, defensive ends. At some point, you got to look at the quarterback saying, yo, dude, do you know how to set up a pass protection? Do you know how to call things at the line? Do you know how to bring in a running back? The coaches at Florida State, have you guys not taught this kid that? Why aren't you sitting up designing plays, quick stick routes from tight ends, a running back to leak out, a wide receiver doing a quick slant, just or whatever sort of route to get that ball off his freaking hands? Design a play. You saw Alabama was bringing the pressure, and they were owning that offensive line. So always have a freaking hot read, so get the freaking ball off your hands so you're not hurt. Watch how Tom Brady operates. I know Tom Brady is possibly the greatest quarterback of all time. But when does that guy take free shots? In the NFL, it's even talent. Florida State freaking plays against Boston College. This kid's still getting blasted. NFL is even talent. So there's going to be free rushers on Tom Brady sometimes. But the offense is built, and he knows that I need to set up somebody where I can get the ball off. Where I'm not getting blasted every other play or every game. Because it doesn't happen that prevalent, but every fucking game this kid gets fucking blasted. at some point you got to look at Deandre Francois. And yes, I think a lot of the blame is on the offensive line. I say about 20% on the offensive line. And I'll even give 50% to the coaches of why he got hurt. But the rest, the last 30%, that's on him. That is on him. He never learned how to set up pass protection. And you could look up all types of articles online saying how a lot of these kids coming from college, going into the pros, don't know how to set up pass protection, don't know how to audible into different plays, to bring them into different plays so they're not getting popped. And that's a big concern from the NFL because they have to teach it because they're not teaching in college, they're not teaching in high school. It's spread, no huddle, quick, get the ball off, catch the defense off guard. That's fine, and that is working in the NFL to some extent. But at the end of the day, these kids still have to learn how to set up a pass protection because blitzes are dialed up and you're going to go against teams that are more talented than you, and you need to protect yourself, and you need to play every single game throughout the season. It's not just good enough to have a really nice arm and get the ball off really well and really fast and be really accurate. You have to protect yourself if you're a quarterback. Everyone on the defensive side is hoping you're getting popped every play, and you need to protect yourself if you're a quarterback. Deandre Francois, he takes some of that blame from his injury. I know it's harsh, but he does. So, lighter notes. Clemson and Penn State, they look sharp. I had a lot of hate on Twitter because I said Clemson played great, but because they only played Kent State, and Kent State's no one. But Clemson looks freaking sharp. All right, I don't need another team to go up against for me not to know that you're playing really well or you look really sharp. I don't need another team to compare you to that. But if you are looking for another team to compare, Kent State looked like Clemson was running through paper bags. It really did. The first quarter, the second quarter, it just looked like they were up against freaking plastic bags. It really did. I thought Clemson looked sharp. I think they're just as talented as they've ever been. Bryant looked really nice, really sharp. I think they're saving him for Auburn, and that's great because they're going to need him because Auburn is actually really talented. Auburn looked also really good. But it is a concern that your new QB is going into a top game against such a top opponent in his second week. But we'll see. But I think Clemson looks awesome, and I doubted them a little bit in the offseason. I didn't think they were that good, and I think right now they are an obvious threat, and they were already an obvious threat to my Hokies. I wasn't sure about their quarterback because I didn't really know much about him, but Bryant looks freaking sharp and really athletic and just as good as any guy replacing a legend in your school. So I think Clemson is in good hands this year. And Penn State looked freaking awesome against Akron. Saquon Barkley, unbelievable. McSorley reminds me of Kellen Moore, his arm talent. Kellen Moore's arm talent. He's a lot more mobile than Kellen Moore, but his arm talent, very accurate, really nice touch. Not a big arm. He can throw long, but it's not coming off with some heat. I don't think he has the mind of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was unbelievable in his decision making, and he would set you up in the second quarter, in the early second quarter, to set you up late in the third quarter, so he could pop a pass all over on the top of your secondary. But I think McSorley is awesome. I think their defense is really solid. I think they got a lot of really nice players around them. And I think Penn State looks really good. I don't think they'll win a national championship. I think they can win the Big Ten again. And I think they can go to the playoffs. But, there's that monster in the South over there in Alabama looking really good. So, but I think a great season is ahead of Penn State, obviously. They look awesome. And my man, James Franklin, is a beast. I love him. So let's go on the Kevin Sumlin train that we ended with. Yeah, Texas A&M is the 9th most talented team. UCLA is talented, no doubt. They got Josh Rosen. But when you're up 34 points in the second half, you have to obviously finish it off. And I think it was actually like 4 minutes left in the third quarter. They were up by 34 points. I didn't see the whole game. Obviously, I was watching the Hokies. But it's just unexcusable. And at some point, you can only live off of Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans in that Alabama game years ago, back in 2012. I think it was 2013, 2012. 2012. There's only so long you could live off that. How many quarterbacks he's had come through there, whether it was to injury or was to whatever. I think he's lost to people, not loyal, like Donby said, all that stuff. But at some point, it's got to fall on the coach, man. It's got to fall on the coach. Maybe these kids are entitled, but I don't know, man. At some point, I would have fired him personally. It looks like Texas A&M doesn't matter. Like, they're going to get these recruits anyway. You need a real coach. You need a top coach now. I thought Kevin Sumlin was a top coach, but I think I've been proven wrong. I think I've obviously been proven wrong. If it was up to me, Kevin Sumlin would be gone. It's harsh, but that's just how I see it right now. And we'll just jump into Josh Rosen, the frozen one, who turned into the chosen one in the third quarter, late in the third quarter. He was unbelievable. My fucking Chicago Bears are stupid. Are you kidding me, dude? You guys drafted Mitch Trubisky and pretty much traded away our future to not draft Josh Rosen and pick up Mitch Trubisky. What the fuck? Like, at some point, you got to think, like, there's just pure incompetency. And we all knew there was some problems with the Chicago Bears, but it's just pure incompetency. Hopefully, for the 49ers' sake, they take Josh Rosen. It would be a match made in heaven for them. California, college football player playing in California. He's unbelievable. That was easily the best quarterback performance I've seen. Man. Oh, you know what? Lamar Jackson last year against Florida State was unbelievable. But you know what? In terms of the comeback part of it, the whole, incredibleness of it, Josh Rosen, I think, was better than that Lamar Jackson performance last year. And Lamar Jackson was unbelievable. But in terms of pure arm talent and showcasing his throwing ability, Josh Rosen was unfucking real. Shout out to Lamar Jackson, who had an awesome game this week as well against Purdue. Last topic. Got out of order. But what the fuck is wrong with Texas? I'm really not gonna put away blame from Tom Herman. I'll come back to him in a second. But there's something wrong with the University of Texas. Like, there's got to be some deep-rooted stuff that we don't know shit about. Maybe there's articles about it. I will try to look that up this week. But there's a lot of serious problems with the University of Texas right now. Like, what the fuck is going on? You should never lose to Maryland. There has to be something wrong going on in the background in Texas, because overall, the product is shit. There is no excuse for them to be losing to Maryland ever. That's period. And my boy Tom Herman, what'd I say? Stay at Houston. Still get Texas recruits. Can go to NY6 Bowls. Can dominate the American Athletic Conference. Be loved. Not have the media all over you constantly. And instead, what? Didn't listen to me. You went to Texas. First home game. Embarrass yourself in front of your home crowd, in front of national television against Maryland. And their quarterback went out. And they had to beat you with their backup quarterback halfway through. So, overall, I don't feel for Tom Herman at all. This loss is purely on him, obviously. He had the better talent. He has a better program. Well, at least he was supposed to have the better program. He's supposed to be the better coach. And he was at home. I feel no sympathy for Tom Herman. He took the money. Hey, and I gotta say, God bless. He took a huge paycheck, and if they're going to fire him, they're going to have to pay him a huge paycheck again. So, in terms of money, it was a smart move by Tom Herman. But, like I said, if he wanted success, if he cared about the success part of being a college football coach, he would have stayed at Houston. He would have built a power for about 6 or 7 years, maybe 5 years at the least. And he could have built his coaching, his whole coaching philosophy up better, and then gone to a top program. But overall, I feel no sympathy for Tom Herman at all. And I think I'm validating that because truly believe he'd rather be planning to play Arizona next Saturday than to be embarrassed by this Maryland loss. That's it. Follow us on Twitter at Ilive4saturdays. 4 is the number 4. Like, comment, and subscribe. And peace.